previously on Ballz.
Darren, how are you, mate?
Can you, man?
Very good, no complaints.
All good. We were just saying, you're still running the hurt ship there?
No, believe it or not, I'm not, though.
Now, hold on. Why has your line gone even worse now? Are you smothering your phone or what?
No, I'm sitting here. I'm 100%, don't worry.
Okay. Just need a little bit of mouthpiece action there.
No, okay, I'll try and focus. I'll stay focused. No, I struggle at the
Sounds great.
Where are you these days?
Darren, I left Hertz about 2 months ago, and I've gone on my own or with a couple of partners. We've set up an investment management company and almost a venture capital type fund. We don't have the funds, but we have access to a lot of funds, and we do it on a drawdown basis based on our investors.
Awesome.
They're buying into our what we recommend, and it's all so far so good. Our first company is 1Volt, which is a voice biometric business, and we're finding some good traction there. So it's all going well. Thank you.
Lekker, man. And does this mean you can work from home?
It means there are days when I do work from home, like today. I had a couple of meetings, and the one was delayed because obviously when you work a little bit with the government, sometimes they're a bit late.
Yeah.
So I've been sitting at home waiting for the call, and I'm sitting here looking out my office window. It's beautiful. It's a bit close to the fridge for me as well. It's great.
The last time you worked that close to the fridge was Green Man.
It was, but that wasn't the fridge. It was the bar fridge that was.
All right. Thanks for chatting to us today. Won't keep you too long. We just been talking a lot about obviously the rugby the weekend and all the drama that comes after it. And so many theories, but everyone seems to be pretty down on the Springboks at the moment. Where's your head?
Well, I think it's almost in two different spaces. One is there's no doubt we've had a lot of injuries, and Hanneke hasn't had the easiest job in the last couple of weeks. We are missing a lot of players. He's taken over a squad that's lost some of its real stalwarts. And then I think, to be fair, there's one or two of the senior players that aren't playing that well. But the reality is we're not good at the moment. And Saturday was a very disappointing second half. I actually thought we weren't bad in the first half. We missed a good opportunity about 7 or 8 minutes before the break to score and really extend our lead. But having said that, they probably missed one good opportunity too. So, I just thought second half we didn't control anything. Hanneke keeps talking about winning confrontations and being more physical, and he's picked strong ball carriers, but the Aussies were just more up for it than us, which was a bit of a concern. They bashed us back on the gain line, and they got easy go forward ball. We just altogether, and we didn't offer anything. Aside from that, we had no ability to change our game plan. There was a lot of disappointment there on Saturday.
Yeah, look, I think that's exactly what I was saying about 10 minutes ago too, when we were just discussing it here. And I even mentioned the players that aren't there, that are not there by virtue of injury. Look, having some of those old heads in the side would surely maybe make a big difference, especially when it comes down to crunch time in the second half.
Yeah, definitely, and I think the signs were probably more so there against Argentina last weekend or 2 weekends ago in Mendoza than they were on the weekend. The Argentinians came with a real frenetic style of play. They put us under a lot of pressure at the breakdown. They rushed. They did everything you expect from a home team playing with huge passion. And what concerned me is we showed no composure. We showed no ability to just make a good old decision and say, right, let's calm it down, commit a few more numbers to the ruck, slow things down. Don't allow them that frenetic approach. Instead, we almost got sucked into the way they played. We started playing in quite a similar way, and we came unstuck. And those same old heads that would have maybe slowed it down and been a bit more mature, or maybe said let's maul a little bit and suck them in and stop them scrambling around the breakdown on the floor. Those old heads in the second half against Australia also weren't there. And the young guys, and there's some guys that aren't that young, that are experienced players, the likes of Morne Steyn and that midfield pairing, and there's a couple of the forwards. They're the guys who should have maybe just cemented the team together in a different way and said, look, we were pretty good in the first half, but where are we coming unstuck here in the second? Our running lines are not good, our defense is bad, and to be fair as well, when Brian Abana went off, we really missed his experience in that channel. But we just didn't seem like a team that's an international Springbok team that should be at any point composed and mature and making good decisions.
But having said that, when you look at it, and I was just saying to Simon earlier, if you go back a year or so, there are players in that squad now that wouldn't even been considered for Springbok selection a year ago, and that's the plight at the moment, that there are just so many holes that they're almost trying to fill right now. I mean, the fact that they're now bringing Bucky's back, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, he's got the experience, he's still playing. But they've got to go find a Bucky's now to shore up the second row. But, having guys like Dwayne there, where he wasn't really considered a Springbok a year ago, Tian Liebenberg once again in the front row, there are a couple of sort of holes that have just been filled there.
You're right. When you take out a Bismarck to PC, it's not an easy position to fill, particularly when Chili Boy's injured and Strauss has only just overcome his injury, and that injury list continues. And in the second row, we've in the second row, I think we've got some good players, but maybe they just, in a team that's struggling, they haven't had the opportunity to step up yet. There's no doubt we missed Bucky's and Victor, but you can't keep bringing them back. At some point, you've got to move on and move forward, and that worries me a little bit too about Hanneke. He's a lovely guy. He eats, sleeps, lives the game, and the one thing that does concern me is if you watch him in that box that he sits in, he is going to have a heart attack in there. He gets so worked up and so stressed. And the other guy I don't want to be is whoever is listening in on that walkie-talkie. I don't want to be him.
I'm hoping it's Roman's Pizza.
I wanted pepperoni for Dan's sake. What is taking you guys so long with this thing?
Yeah, and I think there's a few explanatory words stuck in there as well.
Do you know Heineke like that? When I saw that the first time, it was kind of strange to me. I've never seen him as that much of an animated coach.
Yeah, he's. I think in his time at the Bulls, firstly when he started, we probably didn't have pictures of him in the box.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think the journey of coaching the Bulls, he may have behaved like that early on and we didn't see it, but by the end, when the Bulls were winning and playing great rugby and they built on the foundation he laid. And that one pass, boring, really horrible rugby, which the box have gone back to a little bit now. We when he's gone beyond that, and it was the Bulls playing beautiful rugby, winning, he probably never ever got stressed like that. So I think he's now finding it out exactly how tough it is to coach the box, particularly with injuries at the end of a long Super Rugby competition in a year after a World Cup where a lot of senior players have moved on, either retired or moved to Europe. I think he's finding it tough, and I think the pressure's showing.
John, I'd just like to know from you your thoughts on the tactics and the game plan that we're employing out there. We spoke to Nas Puerta last week. We spoke to Dan Retief, and they said that the big test would be to see if Heineke would adapt his strategy going into this Australian test. It didn't look like that happened. What do you think going forward in terms of playing the All Blacks?
Well, I think there's two sides to that. One is you can only play a game plan that suits the players you've got at your disposal. You can't play an incredibly wide, expansive game if you don't have attacking players out wide. And I think the reality is that also comes down to selection. I'm not sure he has selected in any other way other than to play the game he's playing right now, which is a bit of a one-pass game. It's about big, strong guys carrying the ball up. It's about kicking the ball away a lot of the time, loads of up and unders. It is boring, it's not particularly pretty, and it certainly is not going to beat the All Blacks. I mean, that's the reality too. If we want to start winning these big games against teams that look after the ball, you can't keep giving them the ball. We've got to start looking after the ball a little bit better. But if we want to look after the ball and we want to use the width and we want to play that type of play, we've got to pick players who are capable of playing that game or who can grow into players who can play that game. And right now I don't see that. With all respect to some of the guys there, and I don't want to pick on anyone, but there's one or two of them that catch up and unders, kick up and unders, and that's all they offer. And as long as we're kicking the ball away, we are never going to be a team that can go out there and compete with the All Blacks on a day where they play remotely well.
Yeah. Look, I mean, Heineke didn't really put his stall out saying, look, this is a look-see process for me when he started out. He came in having to win a series against England. No one ever wants to go into a test match against the All Blacks or Australia saying, well, look, we might lose because I'm still looking at my options and stuff. He's never really gone out and said that. But having said that, if he is looking at a long-term prospect for the Springboks, and we always talk about 4 years, when is the right time to sort of give a guy like Goosen a chance? And now he might sit and go, okay, well, I better bring Goosen in now. He didn't look bad when he came on, but it is against the All Blacks. Peter de Villiers brought up the Khafi du Toit factor when we spoke to him last week. And when do you sort of let Lambie try and rebuild his confidence? Some people say, and rightly so, you don't rebuild confidence by playing in a test side.
Well, look, I have a slightly different view on all of those things. I think, the Khafi du Toit scenario was a one-off. That was two young oaks who, in pivotal positions, got chucked to the wolves, and it was a bad selection, bad mistake, and those two players suffered for their on and forever. I think if a player's good enough, you must pick him. I think, and let's start with Patrick Lambie before we come to the 10 spot. For me, Patrick Lambie is the one player at fullback who can make decisions. He knows where to attack. He buys time and brings other players into the game. He's not out and out pace like an Israel Dag or even a Kurtley Beale who's got that real out and out pace. But he is a clever player, and he will be a good attacking option. It also means you can use him around that 10 slot with attacking options both ways. Where at the moment we don't have that option. If we're going to play from a middle scrum, wherever Morne stands, that's the direction the ball goes. I mean, every idiot in the world can see that. So we probably need to bring in Pat Lambie now. And don't be fooled, Darren. Every single rugby player I've ever met or ever known is a confidence player, by the way. And you if you don't have the confidence, to go and build it. It doesn't matter where you play. As soon as you do something right and good, and you feel better, your confidence will come back. Lambie dropped 2 up and unders early on in the Super Rugby final, and all of a sudden he's got no confidence and he's not a good player anymore. I mean, how does that work? You don't just pick him and let him play. Go and have a bash at it. And the same applies for Quisson. If he's good enough, which it does seem that he is good enough. I was quite impressed with him when he came on for that 18-minute period or however long it was. I was impressed with him. If he's good enough, pick him. But then, understand that he's either good enough or he's not good enough. I thought Heineke made a bad mistake in this management of the Quisson game time. I thought he shouldn't have picked him when he did. I thought he could have left him to play another whole game for the Free State Cheetahs and then phone him out on the Sunday. He could have still put him on the bench. Could have still had his 20 minutes on Saturday. He would have had another 18 minutes game time coming back from a serious injury. So maybe that 80 minutes might be the deciding factor in saying, right, okay, maybe he's not ready yet. Let's pick Morne Steyn this weekend, particularly against the All Blacks in New Zealand. He's a player who's accustomed to the pressure, and it might be almost contradicting myself by saying this, but it might be too big a step for a person to step in there as a starting 10. But maybe it's another opportunity to give him 30 minutes this time around and see how he goes.
Yeah. Or even, it might be better. Look, it's always a better option if you are going to make a debut when you're that young. Because, as you say, he does look full of running. He does look full of talent. Is pick him and give him his debut in front of his own fans?
Yeah, I think home away. For players, when you run out on the park, you're between 4 lines on the grass. I'm not sure the fans ultimately pick you up or drop you down or whatever it is. There's no doubt you play better at home for some subconscious reason. But I think if he were ready and he had the game time in him, I would say pick him. I'm just not sure he's got that game time in him. I think he played under 21 game. He's played 50 minutes of perhaps a Currie Cup game. He's played 18 minutes now in a losing test side. I'm just not sure he is physically ready for a full game just yet.
Well, the other side of the coin, Joel, is that if he did start, those 10 minutes against Australia could perhaps be the confidence booster that he needs. He came on and he made an impact and he played well, and he could think to himself, well, maybe I do have what it takes.
Well, I've no doubt he believes and he does think that he's got what it takes. And if he didn't have that belief and he didn't think that, then he wouldn't be there in the first place. But the difference is in the last 18 minutes against Australia, where we were chasing the game and we were trying to move the ball around and it was a little more open and we had a lot more of the ball, and it was just the nature of the game that Australia were defending the win and we were playing a bit of catch up. It was probably a lot easier for him to come in there and just and do the natural thing in that time of the game, in that particular game. To start a game against the All Blacks in Dunedin, where right from the beginning the pressure is big, it's decision making, it's execution, it's kicking, it's not altogether just catch and pass and support. It's a whole other dynamic to the game. It might put a little bit more pressure on him, and it might be a great test to see if he stands up. But what would worry me a little bit is that is he game fit? Is his body strong enough? Well, with only a limited number of games in terms of real match fitness to start a big, hard physical test.
All right, so just having said all of that, we have the All Blacks over there this weekend. which is not the ideal scenario in one way, but on the other side of it, it's like, you almost go there with the attitude, well, look, it can't really get much worse. So, it might just take a little bit of the pressure off the guys. Say, listen, just go out there and do what you know you guys can do. Do you feel that things will get better this weekend, or do you think we're in for a little bit of a problem?
Well, I think the All Blacks are without Dan Carter again. I thought, I thought the Argentinians played really well against them on Saturday and held them, 65 minutes.
65.
9-5.
Yeah.
So that just shows you maybe our draw against Argentina and our win without a bonus point wasn't actually that bad. Wasn't as bad as we thought it was. And as much as I thought we'd beat Australia, the risk against Australia is always that they are a team that believe that they just have this way of raising the game every now and then, and they believe they can beat South Africa. And we have this a little bit of a different psyche. We don't always travel well. I would think that if we take almost the Argentinian approach and say, whatever we did last weekend, let's improve on it.
Yeah.
Let's get better. Let's make sure our lineup's 100%, our scrummaging's a little bit better. Let's make sure we get over the gain line, we run slightly better angles. It's just every little facet of our game. Let's just improve on it by 5 or 7%, and let's do the basics well. And then let's work out what is our next step on this journey, because any coach, in terms of coaching his team and getting them to where they want to be, it's a journey.
Yeah.
He's built the basics, the foundations, the one-off runners, the old ball style. We've kicked a lot of ball away. I would think that he needs to say the conditions are going to be perfect. We know that. It's inside a glass roof. Let's keep the ball. Let's move it around. Let's pick Lambie at fullback. Let's bring the runners in. Let's play quickly. Let's slow it down when we need to slow it down. But let's try and look after the ball. If we come unstuck, we're going to come unstuck if we kick the ball away anyway. Let's rather go out there and have a go.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's not a case of nothing to lose scenario, but as I just sort of express ourselves a little bit more and just get better. It's part of a process, and at least positive signs will make people feel a little bit more positive.
And all those youngsters that the Dwayne Vermeulens who 6 months ago or 3 months ago or 2 weeks ago wouldn't have been in the reckoning, it's a chance for them to be part of this learning curve. That if Pierce Beast comes back in 2 weeks' time and Dwayne gets left out again, in 6 months or 8 months' time when he is required again, or he does take over, he's already part of that whole setup. He's already understands the future steps in this team's evolution and growth.
Yeah. Cool, Joel. We appreciate your insights. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Darren, only was a pleasure, man. Nice chatting.
You too, and good luck with the new business venture.
Thank you very much, and love to the family. I hope your little oak is doing well, and look forward to seeing you.
Cheers, Charlie.
Awesome, Joel. Thanks a lot, bud, and love to your family as well.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Joel.
mate. Cheers,
Ciao, ciao.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Joel Stransky joining us on...
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on Ballz.co.za. Ballz.co.za.